And then another one over here.
That's why I can go back and look.
Right? Probably on Snapchat Live.
All right. This is my trimmed edge, right? Your trimmed edge is going to be the edge that you got coming back into the field where you're going to make the seam. So that's your seam ready edge. This is where it normally rests, right? This would be, if I was going to whittle this in or butch it in, I would place it here and I'd start chopping away at things, right? But we're not going to do that. You guys get plenty of practice butching out in the field. We're actually trying to fit material. So since I marked that 6-inch template, a couple important things if you're going to use this method. This actually is a pretty good method. If you get into like intricate stuff or high, thick brittle material where you can't just hack away at it. If it's soft fucking vinyl, chop away, motherfucker. Do what you do. Some people are better at hand knifing than others. For this to work, this line has to be parallel with that line. So whoever's cutting that, you want to make sure they're not doing this to you. Getting things out of whack, because what will happen if these aren't perfectly parallel, when I bring this back, I'm going to be using that edge to get my lines that shoot back this way. Well, if that's cocked, it's going to shoot everything off in the wrong angle. It's not going to hit right. So it is important that those are parallel cuts, and it's also super important that this thing is perfectly square, because if you cut that wrong and then you flip it and use a different side, then your marks ain't going to be in the right place. I like this LVT because it's a little bit sturdier than the vinyl, because like if that vinyl kind of curls, it might change your dimensions and whatnot. You guys are welcome. I got tons of this shit over on, I think it's over there somewhere. I got a pallet of shit. I think it ended up over there actually. Or whatever you want. Just make sure if you're using the vinyl that's curly, make sure you're pushing it flat so you have a consistent measurement. Right? So I mark my 6-inch. I'm going to bring this back to these lines. Now it's real important that you make sure you still got enough material going up each side. We're going to do the 2 side walls next. We're only concerned about what would be our front wall. For you guys, your seam line, your door frame, and most of you guys got that little chunk of wall. Me and you're kind of set up like I am, so you're not going to have that little chunk of wall on the back side. Make sure it's right on your marks. That's why I went and got these things.
Salute. Now it's a little tough. It's actually, we got a little bit tougher. It's easier for you guys because your door frames are actually out where your sheet's laying flat. We got to deal with ours trying to curl up here to get all these marks. You're really going to have to push in there. All right, so I'm still hitting, no, I'm not actually hitting it. It's real close to it. And this is why I wanted to cut just that inch extra, because I don't want this curling up. Now, say you do this, you push in and it's curling up your door frame a little bit. You can take your knife and whittle that out right there. Because remember, you're 6 inches back from where it's supposed to be resting. Don't make that relief cut before you fucking move it. People do that all the time. They see me do that little relief cut and they're like, oh, while it's in place, they rough it in close and then they move it back and then they're short. Do not relieve it until you move it back. Then you can relieve it. This way we got 6 inches. I'm only gonna do 2 inches when we go left and right. So this is where it gets a little tricky for me and you, Charlie, is to get in here and get these marks. I'm just gonna have to mark it and then extend it later, because I can't get into the curl of my sheet. And I go to this one. So all my lines that
Parallel lines?
Yep, my parallel lines to my vertical surfaces that are parallel, I'm using the 6-inch template and I'm going through and marking those edges. Remember from the VCT, we can't butt up against it, but what we can do is line up next to it. So I want to make sure, I'm lined up on the back side here, and then this extends off this side. That's the back side of my door jamb. It's not the most accurate, but it's the best way to mark that. And then go ahead and get your seam. Mark that there. Now to get I guess I'll call these these are like offset scribes. To get your direct scribes, you're gonna want to use something that you want to make sure you stay square. Like I don't want to just butt this here and say my door frame's crooked. Well, what's going to get worse is this transfers back here. I want to use because remember these are parallel to each other, so that's keeping me square in my mock-up. Hook this up on that edge, and this is where it's going to get really tricky for us, Charlie, because I'm hitting this thing back here. It's not too bad. I think I'm going to be okay. Now, if you can't mark this one, but these should be in line with each other. Whether the door frame's crooked or not, those will still be in line with each other. That really should be pushed down a little bit more. Mark that, slide out here. Now to get this one, because I could say, all right, well, just butt up against that. Well, how do I know I'm perpendicular or square to the mock-up, right? So I like to do this. Hook that on there, take your flexi, and this can then slide along that up against whatever surface. See how I'm all squared up now? Butting up against that door, and then I'm just marking this between there and there. So there's my door frame. Which one am I missing?
The back
So
side.
this guy. Oh, that's right. I got to, because I couldn't get in there. I just got to extend this later because I can't get my template in there. That's actually this line that I'll just extend later once I get the sheet out of here.